Well, I guess I'd like to start off by thanking everyone who's joined us today to take part in this webinar and also take part in this contest. We're very excited about it. I think we're already seeing some very good contest entries that are being submitted. So I think this should really be a lot of fun and an opportunity to win some money and some hotspots. So I'll start off. My name is Travis. I'm the developer growth lead over at Helium. We've been running this contest over at Hackster.io. We're working with ARM, Semtech, and STMicroelectronics. ST has donated a number of boards that we have available to contest entrants. If you go to the contest page towards the top, you can apply for hardware. And we still have a lot more boards to give out for contest ideas. So, throw an idea in there if you need hardware to build up on, and we'll get that shipped out to you. So what is this all about? What the contest is for, we're using IoT and the Helium network, which we have in the previous months built up across the United States, moving into Canada, moving into Europe as well shortly. And we have pretty incredible coverage in most major cities at this point. And this contest is to leverage that network and the coverage that we've been able to build up to do something good, to build a system that solves some problems in society. So we'll start off, and just a quick agenda or kind of overview of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to go over the contest, and we'll talk about prizes, kind of rules, whatnot, and where you can find information on the contest over at Hackster.io. Then we're going to go over the Helium Developer Kit, which that's what we have been sending out for the idea submissions. We'll talk a little bit about how you get your development environment set up, as well as what development environments you can use. You're not really constrained to a particular environment here. Helium, we recently, of course, moved over to LoRaWAN and also moved over to subband 2. And what this allows is for you to use a lot of third-party devices directly off the shelf and onboard them to the Helium network. It really makes that whole process very simple. And so I wanted to go over, just outside of the Helium Developer Kit, other hardware, other developer boards that are available out there on the market. And so you can kind of see, what your options are, depending upon language or architecture that you're wanting to work with. The Helium Console, we've made a lot of changes recently, and it's got some powerful new features. And we'll kind of touch on a couple of those, as well as integrations, which allow you, if you've seen some of the other webinars, integrations are ridiculously powerful as far as being able to set up an endpoint to have your devices push data to AWS IoT Core, for example. And actually, that's something that we'll probably go over a little bit here in just a minute. And then as far as developer community resources, where you can find, we've been working on a lot of documentation recently, and pretty proud of it. I think that's, a lot of work's gone into it. And so hopefully that will be able to get everyone up and going on the projects they're working on. And of course, if you have any questions, we're always in the Helium community Slack, where you can hit us up, if you have a problem, if you have a question, if you're looking for something, if you're, just kind of confused about, where to start, that's a good place to touch base with the team. If we have time here at the end, we may run through a quick demo, but if I want to go ahead and get to the question and answer session kind of at the end. So if anyone has any questions, just hit me up. We have other team members here on the call as well. We should be able to field any kind of questions that you have regarding the contest, regarding the Helium network, or the developer kit. So let's get going. So like I mentioned, we're working with ARM, Semtech, and ST, and we have a grand prize of $2,500 in cash, and also up to $2,500 in data credits which allow you to transfer data over the Helium network. That also comes with the Helium Hotspot. And then we have 4 runner-up prizes, and that's in alignment, the same, but $1,000 cash, up to 1,000 data credits, and a Helium Hotspot. Good prizes to be won there, in addition to the development kits that are available for sharing an idea that you want to create. So what is the Helium Developer Kit? Okay, it's based around the STMicro LoRaWAN board, and then we added a MEMS shield on it, which adds a number of sensors. It's very easy to work with. There are libraries for the Arduino environment, and so it's simple to get up and get going. It does have it. One thing that's kind of neat. It has a barometric pressure sensor on it that's very accurate, and so you can get a rather accurate elevation to the tune of just a few inches if you move the board off of your desk. You can sense that pressure change and get an elevation change off of it. This board, it uses an Arduino Uno form factor, and so the MEMS shield will just stack on top of it. And then there's also, if you're looking at doing like a GPS or some type of mapping or tracking application, we also have some GNSS expansion boards, and these will just sit on top. You just stack all 3 boards up together, and you can run that. It has an external active antenna that is pretty incredible. I haven't had a problem running this thing or getting right now I think I have 15 satellites on it right now, and I'm in the middle of my house, and so I've been rather impressed with the coverage that you're able to pick up with the antenna on it. So, but what do you need in order to use these boards? You have to verify that you have network coverage, right? And like I say, in the past few months, we have rolled out a ridiculous amount of hotspots. You can go to network.helium.com/coverage, and that will give you up-to-date coverage information, hotspot locations, so you can see if there's coverage nearby you. Now, if there's not, because right now we're only rolled out in the US and Canada, we're moving for our European rollout very shortly. But I noticed we had a lot of contestants from outside of the US, outside of Canada. And you have a couple of options there on how you can get coverage set up. If you look at these 2 links underneath here, these are projects that community members have built up. And the first one, what it allows you to do, actually, I'd like to kind of, I believe Max is on the call. Max, are you able to unmute yourself at this point?
Yep. Hi.
Hey, do you want to take over for a second, man? Introduce yourself and just kind of explain what you have going on here.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Hi, my name is Max. I'm from Berlin. I hope you don't have a huge background noise. I'm sitting right next to a printer that I put on pause, but the fans are still spinning. Yeah, so what I've done is I ran into the challenge of setting up a couple of developer hotspots. And by a couple of, I mean a handful of them. Just running through the documentation that Helium himself provided, and I noticed that it's kind of a tedious task and a bit of a hassle to do it. And it's pretty straightforward though, so I was just thinking of automating it and went ahead. The second link you see on the slides that Travis is sharing right now is a repository that you can pull yourself. You don't even need to have GitHub set up on your Raspberry Pi at this point in time, so you can just spin it up, basically just flash your SD card, jump to the section installation in the documentation there, download the zip file with either wget or curl, and just unzip it, go into the folder, make the executables run, and with an elevated shell, just run the installation file. And after reboot, just SSH back into your Pi, and then run the build section, and it does everything automatically for you. Additionally, I've dropped in an 868 megahertz configuration because I'm sitting in Berlin and I cannot run it on the other frequencies. It's prohibited in Europe. That's why I ordered the rack for 2.2, I think, or 2.455. Sorry, don't remember. With the 868 megahertz configuration, and just drop in the other configuration file and it should run immediately. And additionally, in the utilities section, you can also find, thank you for navigating that. You can also find an option to add a service. What it does is basically it just sets up your systemd service. And if you have a power outage, your device goes to reboot, it will automatically start the whole system again, and you don't have the hassle to SSH into your Pi and issue the run command, reset the concentrator and everything. It should do everything automatically. There are a couple of open to-dos at the bottom of the page. So if you want to contribute, fix something, or I don't know, want to make something prettier, right? Just go ahead and put a PR there, and I will have a look at it. Yeah, that's it, I guess.
Excellent. Hey, thanks a lot, man. I think this is a really, really neat method for people outside of the U.S. to be able to easily get a gateway or a hotspot up and running using a rack and a Raspberry Pi. So it should be probably one of the easiest ways to to onboard right now. So thank you so much, Max, for introducing yourself and contributing that to the community. I think people are going to be very happy there.
My pleasure.
Another community member he is setting this project up. Let me pull this up. And this is Jose. And what this allows you to do, if anyone is competing in this contest from India or from EU, then this will allow you to go through this service and use a LoRaWAN gateway to connect through to the US Helium network. And so this may be an easy mechanism if you're in a country that's currently not supported. He wasn't able to attend this call today, but just drop in on Slack. I can put you into contact with him, and that should be a neat and simple way to get on the network and compete in this project. And these links will be available afterwards as well, and I'll link these in the events channel over on our Slack community. So environments, as far as development, Arduino IDE using VS Code and Platformio. We have guides for both of these up in the documentation section over on the Helium website. You can also develop with STM32 Cube MX and the rather newly released Cube IDE, which allows you to not have a byte size limit, and it's also completely free. And so there's not a per seat charge in order to use these environments. And the Helium Development Kit based on the STMicro disco board is fully compatible here. But other hardware, like I mentioned, we support Class A devices, and we're on subband 2 now. And so that means there are a large number of off-the-shelf LoRaWAN devices that you can get up on the Helium network immediately. I wanted to just show, I guess, a couple of devices here. There's some interesting things that have been coming out recently. This is a Dragino Modbus to LoRaWAN bridge that can serve as a Class A or a Class C device. And then that's just another a Modbus board connected to it there. Dragino makes some very nice nodes, programmable end nodes, and a lot of their software is open source in their documentation segment of their website. This is Multitec. This is one of their MDOT development kits. Something we have some folks who are developing on these for the Helium network. This is a layered development kit with a display on it, but kind of ignore that part. The layered module is up there at the top, you can see, and it's FCC certified. All you have to do is clip an antenna on it and power it, and you can get going. These, you code in something called Smart Basic on these, which is an event-driven language, but it is pretty powerful. What's nice is it also has a Bluetooth low energy stack on it, and so you can build bridges out of these as well between the two protocols. And actually, these will support out of the box TI sensor tags, those small, little matchbox size sensor. They're packed with what, like 11, 12, 13 different sensors, and they run on a coin cell battery. Those are also a reference design, but those will work out of the box with these layered modules. There's a number of newer boards that are coming out based around ESP32s. This is a Pike board. I'm just going to kind of run through these. This allows you to develop in MicroPython. It has a number of some that also supports Sigfox. But if you're looking at doing something in MicroPython, it might be worth looking at. This is another Dragino unit. This is an industrial controller that you can see it has relays on the right. It also has 420 milliamp input on it. It has digital 0 to 5 volts, 0 to 10 volts. And so if you're doing industrial type applications, it's definitely a viable device to explore. This is another ST device. This is the LSN50 that actually uses the same child board you can see as this industrial controller, which is based on the ST micro architecture there. This is a breakout of the layer that we just looked at. Okay. One nice thing about using these discovery boards and the MIM shield is they have I2C breakouts on top. If you have some Grove sensors laying around, you're not constrained just to the handful of sensors that are on the that come on the MEMS board. It's very easy to expand into whatever you need in your project. We have documentation on that on the site as well as some of the entrants on the Hackster.io contest have, I believe UFAR has a very good write-up about daisy chaining I2C devices. So how do you get started on all of this? You need to get an account on Helium Console. And Helium Console, it's free to use. We have added a number of features here, like I mentioned. You have debugging interface where you can see your payloads as they're coming through for your devices. We've just revamped the security system on it, and I think that you definitely, if you don't have an account, please pick one up. It's got a lot to offer there, and I believe you should be able to get onboarded in just a matter of minutes. So integrations. This is a mechanism via console that allows you to pipe device data through to endpoints. And so I can use MQTT, HTTP. We have now a full integration with My Devices and Cayenne, which allows you to rapid application development, kind of prototype in a mobile-friendly format. All of your sensor data going through, with a nice clean interface. And so it's a nice, very, very fast way to get a proof of concept of an IoT device up and going. Now, the AWS IoT Core is, I'm going to walk through that here in just a moment because it's pretty amazing. Here's a number of links to some places on the web. You see Helium Docs up at the top, develop.helium.com. That's where you can find tutorials, you can find walkthroughs, you can find guides on how to work the console, how to work the integrations, how to work with labels, and you can also get access to some of our previous webinars. So please check that out, and that is constantly in flux, and so we're updating that like madmen and women right now. So if you haven't been there in a while, please check back in. We have a lot of new stuff there. Dev community Slack, chat.helium.com. That's where you can find most everyone on the Helium team. We have a great community of developers. I know a lot of you hang out in there, and if you have questions, if you get stuck on something, please don't hesitate to ask a question. And make sure when you join that you look through the channels. There are a lot of channels that you're not default added to, and so there's I don't want anything to kind of go off your radar. So console.helium.com, get started there. If you want to pick up or if you need hardware in order to get started here, at the top of the Hackster.io page, hit the apply for hardware. Demo, okay. What we're gonna do here, I've got a board right next to me. It's the Helium Development Kit, and it has the GNSS sensor that I was talking about attached to it. And so before we jump over here, I wanted to show you the page for the Hackster.io contest. And this not only has the rules, this is the apply for hardware right here. We already have 266 participants on the contest. That's great. That makes me very happy, folks. I'm excited that everyone is getting involved in this. But this will take you through the developer kit and some of the workshops, some of the getting started documentation. Make sure to kind of take a look at this. If you have any questions, like I say, hit us up. So this is our console. What we can see here, and this is running rather hot right now, just for this demo. You can see our debug window over on the right, and so this is going to be live data coming through from this device as the payloads are coming through the hotspot. So there we go. And you can see here, if I go over to what this device is, this is the IoT for Good webinar. And so you can see I have a Cayenne and an AWS IoT label, and labels are a mechanism to attach, for example, integrations. And you can see that I have a Cayenne and my AWS integrations tied via these labels to this device. Now, what that allows me to do, if I go over to Cayenne, this is the dashboard that also renders well on mobile phones. But you can see that this is live data coming through that Cayenne integration onto this dashboard. You can see, I have mapping going here, and can pop. Oh, that's yeah. No one stalk me, please. But you can see that data can be broken down by channels here. And if we give this just a moment, this is why I was running the device a little hot. So it shouldn't take long for some sensor data to be coming through here. There we go. So we can see we have a temperature, relative humidity, etc. And these are broken down by on different channels. So that gives you a little bit of flexibility there. We're also pushing this through, like I mentioned, the AWS IoT core. And so what we want to do over here, what we can do is you can get a free AWS tier account, and you have to put a credit card down, but you can absolutely work on this without going above the free tier. And there are a ton of services that AWS offers and makes it very, very nice. I mean, this is not, of course, required to to develop on the Helium network, but it is a mechanism that gives you a lot of flexibility and a lot of power. to quickly get a very scalable IoT project set up. So what we can do here, because we communicate over AWS IoT with MQTT on the back end, I can just say, okay, I'm going to subscribe to Pound. And what that's going to do is that's just a wildcard. And so I'll see, as you can see right here, all of my MQTT payloads are going to be fed through into AWS. And then at that point, what we can do, we can set up a rule on an action. And this is neat if you haven't played with this before. And let's go ahead and add an action. And it allows me to pipe through my messages, these payloads that are coming through, into a number of different AWS services, including Lambda functions, which allows me to effectively set up a serverless solution without having to stand up and a full server that I have to run 24/7, like a EC2. So it's a very powerful way to set up an on-demand serverless environment for your IoT project. But and this is quick. I mean, I can just pipe these payloads through to any of this. Like if I want to store this down in a NoSQL a data store, in DynamoDB, then I can parse that through, throw it in there, and then deal with that from any other AWS service. So yeah, it's the Helium network is with these integrations and the new functions that we have an upcoming webinar on those as well. Functions allow us to run decoders at this point. And we have a repo set up on our GitHub that has a collection of different decoding functions. We support a number of trackers, a number of the Dragino devices. And if you have some decoders, they're in the same format that TTN and some other networks use. Please get a PR and upload those so the rest of the community has access there. But yeah, this is just a quick and dirty rundown or run through of the Helium network and getting devices on board. So I wanted to kind of go through that and welcome everyone to the contest on Hackster.io. Wish everyone luck. And I wanted to let you know about something we have called the Helium Insider program. This allows you to kind of run and become a representative of Helium and your local community. We'll help you out with, I know in the current environment, people aren't really doing in-person meetups, but I know I run a virtual meetup, and a lot of other groups are doing this as well. But Helium would love to work with you on that to help get the word out about Helium and to help your group out. So check out helium.com WAC Insider if you have interest there. And then I wanted to just go ahead and turn this over to Q&As. If you have any questions, please just unmute your mic. And if I skip something, if I glossed over something, or you'd like some more details, please just let me know. And or any other questions. We have several members of the team here, and I'm sure that your questions can be fielded here. If we don't have any questions, okay.
Yes, one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, with the Raspberry configuration, for example, I'm from Mexico, but I will receive my dev kit in a week or something, I don't know. But I have a Raspberry and all of that, but I want to know if I'm gonna configure the Raspberry to create some kind of gateway for Helium network, or what is exactly the diagram? I don't understand exactly how it works.
Okay, right now, if you go to the developer documentation over on the Helium site, there is a section, if you look on the left and kind of scroll down, on setting up DIY hotspots using Raspberry Pi and rack concentrators. Now, going from country to country, what you're going to have different channel mappings, right? And so the mechanism that Jose is using is, I guess, to map over to the U.S. And so on the U.S. side, it seems to Helium that it's a U.S. hotspot. Now, we're in the process of rolling out in other countries, but at this point, it's if you're not in the U.S. or a country that uses like 915, you want to stay within your legal frequencies that your country mandates, right? And so there are mechanisms like we discussed just a little bit ago about bridging over at this point. But jump on Slack, and this is something we sent out a number of dev kits to Mexico, and would definitely like to work with you on getting hotspots up down there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
What was your name then?
Oh, my name is Victor.
Okay, cool, man. Any other questions?
I think the questions stay in the group chat.
Hi, this is Leroy from Texas.
Hey.
I have yet to receive my kit. Thank you very much, by the way. I understand from looking at the coverage map that there is a hotspot about a mile as we drive from my house. Is there any way at some point in time that you folks might hook me up with the hotspot owner in case I've got concerns or whatever? Is that possible?
It's not something we're really doing at this point. Now,
Okay.
What you can do, however, though, we have an open API, and you can query the API based on geolocation, hotspot name, etc. And so you can kind of look that up, and then by hotspot name, what I would recommend doing is going to the community Slack and just asking. What part of Texas are you in?
It's Dallas, North Dallas.
Okay, yeah. There's a number of folks out in Dallas that are. I'm in Houston, Texas myself, actually. So there's a Dallas channel on the community Slack, and so I'd go in there and just say, hey, this is where I'm at. Can will anyone own up to this? I'd recommend. Yeah.
Okay. Any feel for what kind of distance we might get with these boards? I know that's a subjective question depending on environment.
It is, but within a mile, I mean, that shouldn't be hard for you to hit. I would say. So, I mean, it is very subjective because I mean, using LoRa radios, you can hit satellites, and so radio is very line of sight based. So, depending if you're in a heavy urban area, your coverage is going to be reduced, or your distance will be reduced. But it depends. It's a radio, so yeah.
Understood. I had picked up a dev kit for another low power WAN product, and unfortunately, my house was in a black hole for their coverage. So.
Oh, gotcha.
I'll see. Thank you.
Oh, not a problem, man. Take care.
And Travis, there's a couple questions in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Do you support out of the box to use STM32 LoRa as transceiver with Raspberry Pi? To use STM32, are you talking about using the Raspberry Pi as a node here, or as a hotspot? You can use Raspberry Pis as both, as a hotspot and as like a full stack node. The STM32s are on a number of different nodes that are out in the field. They have an L family that's kind of the low power, deep sleep mode chipsets that are very popular, and that's what's used as well in the Muratas. I guess yeah, I need a little more clarification on the question as to what you mean about the connection with the Raspberry Pi. And John, yes, the slides will be available on this. Yeah, they'll be, yeah, Joey, yeah, okay, you answered that. Should be on the YouTube channel and also linked from our documentation. And we'll put it in the events channel on the Slack, community Slack. Slack URL, if you go to chat.helium.com, is LoRaWAN generic? LoRaWAN, Helium is compliant with LoRaWAN. We're using, we recently moved over to subband 2. And so if you get a LoRaWAN device off the shelf, it doesn't have to have anything to do with Helium. You can use the Helium network. PyCom is, I've done a little bit with the PyComs. I've done a couple projects on them, but it's been a while. Seed, yeah, they did. The seed devices, I believe you're talking about the seed sense caps. I've been testing those guys out and working with their team over there on some issues. But yeah, they have, and I think they're kind of hard to get a hold of, some of the sensors right now, but they're pretty nice. They are slick. I think they're kind of based primarily around agricultural uses. They have the LoRaWAN node, the batteries, the antenna, all in one end of it, and then you have a cap that's interchangeable, that screws and seals down on the other side, that allows you to interchange different sensor types onto the same standard node body. Is the virtual meetup open? Yes, absolutely. It's always open. If you're referring to the one that I run, if you go to hacksterhouston.com, you can get all the information there. But absolutely, it's we're now, since we're not meeting in person, we went from every 2 weeks to weekly, and I've been running that group for about 6 years now. The device that I think Joey was referring to there was the Helium Dev Kit. That's the ST Disco board, and there is a 0 ohm resistor on the back of the board that I believe you need to remove if you're going to be running on battery power. There's a couple of issues, but those are covered in the user guide about using those. So I think I hit all the questions. If I missed any of the questions, can you please unmute your mic and just let me know, holler at me here.
Hi, this is Ram from Canada. Like, I'm a non-technical guy, but just attending this particular webinar to get some information. I'm just looking for, if I buy an Oyster LoRaWAN device or a sensor, is there any video like that shows how to connect it to the console and how to, get it going? Like, can you send me a link or something in the chat?
Yes, there's not a video, I don't believe, but we've used those Digital Matter is the company that makes those. They're Oyster LoRaWAN devices, GPS trackers. We've used those extensively in the field, and actually I've got one of them sitting right next to me. But we do have a very good full-length write-up with photos on our developer documentation site over at Helium, developer.helium.com. If you look on the left under devices, it'll say, I want to say tracker. Let me pull up my browser real quick and I can find you a link here.
Okay.
Let's see. But yeah, no, those are great devices. So right over here on the left, LoRaWAN devices, and then digital matter, Oyster, Yabby, there you go. And so this will talk you through, getting this up. If you need to make any changes, it talks about, using the programming cable on it. So you can use the Oyster configuration utility to change your transmission rates, etc. And then, walks through getting it up on console, and then with our in-house mapping solution, Cargo. And also walks through, this is kind of the back end of the Cayenne that we looked at earlier with the map, and talks about how to get that up using my device's Cayenne as well. So here, I'll copy this link over for you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. There you
go. This is Don Hyatt. A couple of minutes ago, you were mentioning a device that had everything built into one end and a cap at the other end that you could add sensors. I missed the name of that device.
Okay, it's made by Seed, and they're called Sense Caps.
Yes, I actually put that on there as well. That's what I thought you were talking about. I just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah, that's correct. If you go to seedstudio.com or Seed, they've got an extra E in there. So yeah, but yeah, they have information on the Sense Caps here. That's what it looks like, the form factor right there.
Perfect. Thanks.
You can see my screen. Yeah, no problem at all. Well, all right. If there's no more questions, I really appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you very much for joining the webinar. Like I say, please join us on the Helium community Slack if you have any questions, if I missed anything that you want covered. And otherwise, hey, best of luck on this contest. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the ideas that come out of it. It's exciting stuff, and I can't wait to see what you guys are doing. Laura?
Yep.
Or Emily, do either of you have anything you'd like to add before we kind of wrap this?
Nope, just excited to see everyone's projects come through on Hackster.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, folks. Y'all have a wonderful day, and stay safe out there.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.